All right, thanks, guys. Cleveland's at Boston. Game 2, ECF, 8:30 Eastern tip-off. The Celtics are the 1-point favorites in this one with the total at 203.5. Currently, Boston's laying $110 on the money line. And at the moment, just 46% of the betting public is backing the Cavs. So look for them to possibly catch another half a point or so by tip-off if that trend continues. And before we get into those trends, let's just go ahead and take a quick look at the early line movement in this one. And we've had a little bit of it. We're seeing a good amount of movement in the early going here. And as a matter of fact, we saw ourselves a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one. Boston opened up the betting as the 1-point underdog on the spread with the total at 202 and a hook. And since those markets opened this one up, we've seen a steady and consistent fade of the Cavaliers in the early going here. And when it comes to the total, we saw that line get driven upward a whole point. This one opened 202.5, now 203.5. Now, your money line odds didn't change much. This one is pretty much an even money game to pick a winner. A little bit of juice you're going to have to pay. You're probably looking at $1.10 lay if you're leaning on either side. And obviously, 54% of the public bettors like the Celtics, so look for those books to possibly tack on another half a point or so by tip-off if that trend continues. And speaking of the trends, let's dive into them. Let's get into them. It looks like they're heavily favoring these Boston Celtics, who's up 1-0, 1-0 in the series. And they're 3-1 ATS in their head-to-head matchups with Cleveland. This Boston squad has also done an excellent job covering against winning ball clubs, posting a remarkable record of 29-9 ATS versus teams over 500. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Boston's last 4 stayed under the line. Meanwhile, on the other side, similar story for the Cavs as their games went 2-1 to the under in their last 3 themselves. Having said all that, though, we're seeing steady and consistent over money come pouring in on the handle from the public bettors. Plus, I whiffed miserably on the total in Game 1 of this very series. So when it comes to the scoring in this one, I'm going to forego a play on the total. And when it comes to picking sides, I know I made a clear-cut case for Boston, but they are facing a Cleveland squad who's covering 70% of their ball games as the official road underdog. Really tough to cover against these guys when they're catching points. So all told, I'm actually going to go ahead and take a free pass on this game, although I do have a flyer on the Cavaliers and the Warriors both winning their respective series, and a nice little parlay for some slight plus money. I think I'm a plus 105 in that one. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our next game. We're going to go into